Hey, I'm Tracy the E-Lightened artist, and I finally got the down tube battery from a Wallke H6 Max. Will I get more power and performance? Well, no. It's still a 48 volt system, but I'm definitely going to have a bigger gas tank. Now, of course, as soon as this arrived, Old Man Winter showed up. Nope. So I figured I'd hang out in the garage today, show you guys how to install one of these in your bike. It's pretty simple, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it. So first, let me show you what all's in the box. Of course, you get the battery, which is a 20,000 milliamp, basically 20 amp hour battery, 960 watt hours on there. And you get the plate connector and a plug for your charging port, a set of keys, the dual battery equalizer, which has a fuse connection, and a 3 amp hour charger. As for tools, a 7mm box end, some side cutters, a Phillips head, and some zip ties. And I recommend a box or crate to prop your bike up on while you're working on it, and a little catch-all for your screws. First, we're going to make sure our battery is turned off or removed from the bike. Then we're going to pull these 5 Phillips head screws off and pop off this connector plate. And yes, these screws are stainless. So you're going to reach in there and find the connector from the rear battery to the controller. That should have a zip tie on there. So grab your side cutters and pop that free, and then just pull it apart. Now, this is your battery equalizer. It's going to have 3 connections to it. One of them is fused, and that's the one that goes to your controller. I figured I'd pull this heat shrink off of here so y'all can see what's going on. It's just a typical blade fuse holder. Not the greatest quality, not 100% waterproof, so I see why the heat shrink it. And it's just a typical 40 amp blade. And that is the connector that goes to the controller. So locate the controller wires and plug her in. Then we take one of the other connectors, doesn't really matter which one, and connect that to the cable going to the rear battery. So this is pretty cool. They mounted the controller to the inside of the frame wall, so you got plenty of space in here to shove that equalizer and extra cables. It'd be a good idea to mount the equalizer too, but to keep it from rattling around, I'm just going to throw some cable schlock on it. These connections are pretty secure, but we're going to go ahead and zip tie them because that's the way they had it. Then we're going to stuff our equalizer in there and carefully make room for all the cableage and connectors. Just take your time, it'll all go in. And we're going to leave that last connector hanging out. Next, we're going to install that 2 battery connector to the plate. First, we're going to remove our Phillips head machine screws from the connector, and these are 7mm nylon locking nuts. And it turns out you don't even need that box end because they're going to be captured in the back of the plate. You'll see the plate is marked positive and negative, so stick our connector in with the red wire down and the black wire up. Then we secure our connector to the plate with the 2 machine screws, easy as you please. Then we plug our connector into that last lead coming off the equalizer, and this is probably the trickiest bit of the whole install. You got to find a home for all this stuff without kinking everything. But just take your time, it'll all go in there. Then we're going to resecure the plate with the 5 machine screws. I like to do stuff like this in kind of a star pattern. Don't be too heavy-handed with this. It's nice ABS plastic, but it's still plastic. Then we slide our new battery home, and I'm going to lock it first thing so it doesn't try to slide out while I'm closing the bike. Then we button her up. And with the rear battery still out of the bike, we're going to fire her up and check our work. All good, so last thing is to screw in the charger port grommet. Alright, so what's the range going to be on this thing? I'm actually going to have to install some Tannus Armour and tire studs before I can find out. That being said, the range I get is going to be wildly different from the range you get. Somebody on our Wallke Owners Facebook group page actually articulated this really well. He said, e-bike range is kind of like a fingerprint. So every rider is going to have a totally different experience. So I'm 175 pounds, and for the next few months I'll be riding on flat ground in close to freezing temperatures. You might be down in Florida or out in Hawaii riding on some hills. Another little gem I heard on the Facebook group was think about every 10 amp hours you have on your e-bike as about 15 miles of range on PAS5. But whatever you do, don't get one of these e-bikes out of the box, look at the meter, it says 100%, you ride 10 miles and then it goes down to like 50%. And you're like, what gives? The range on this e-bike is crap. That's not the case. When you first turn on the bike, you're going to get a range, right? And that's your battery capacity. It's about how much you got left. But as soon as you start riding, that's going to start going down. You got to think of that meter as a clock at that point. That's telling you about how much time you have before you need to shut the bike off, let the controllers cool down, and let the battery recuperate. Then you turn it back on, and your percentage is back. The other day I got home from my commute, and the bike was at 46%. The next morning I come out, and it was at 88%. it totally recouped. So understand that. Either way, the range is there, the power is there, but it's not a straight shot. You gotta stop and turn the bike off and let it recuperate. That's all I got for y'all today. If you're so inclined, do me a favor and slug that bug. I'm pushing 1,000 subscribers already. I can't believe it. I appreciate y'all so much. And if you're so inclined, hop on over our Facebook page. It's the Wallke e-bike owners group. We'd love to have you. And as always, I got to thank Wallke e-bikes, Tannus Armour, Cafferty Cyclery in downtown Nampa, and Xnito helmets. If y'all are into these and want to check them out, there's a link in the description. It'll save you a couple bucks and it helps me out too. Thanks a lot for the support, guys. Until next time, when you're riding, keep your head on a swivel. Happy holidays. See you next year.